She was not fact-checked on her claim that there are no active duty military members in a combat zone. There are plenty of them. Trump plans on implementing Project 2025 if elected. No, that's not his plan. It's the Heritage Foundation. Trump called for the execution of the Central Park Five in a New York Times ad. He did not. Touted new leases for fracking in the Inflation Reduction Act, despite regulation undermining the lease promises, and no fact check on that there are no women in America carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for abortion. In Minnesota, before they changed the law, there were 5 women who had abortions that resulted in live birth. And then took Trump's Charlottesville comments out of context, forgot to add the part that neo-Nazis and white supremacists, I denounced them out of turn, but in that argument over the statue, there were good people making good arguments on both sides.
The thing that caught my eye the most was the lack of the pushback on the claim that there are not U.S. troops in combat or war zones all around the world.
How many naval ships do we have in the Persian Gulf?
How many naval ships do we have in the Red Sea who have been attacked over the course of the past 12 months by Iranian-backed Houthi rebels, shutting down a number of commercial shipping?
American service members killed in Jordan.
Exactly. The number, of course, the president is in charge of the economy and big plans, and they want to reduce inflation, and they want to make sure housing is affordable, but the number one job of the commander-in-chief is to make sure the American people are safe and to command the U.S. military. So for a candidate to stand up and make that claim that there are no U.S. troops in harm's way in combat or war zones, and the language was very slippery there, was a pretty astonishing thing to hear from someone who's going to be in charge of the U.S. military.
The other thing that wasn't fact-checked was her bloodbath claim. Trump didn't say there was going to be a bloodbath if Joe Biden, just generally, if Joe Biden was reelected. It was specifically talking about the auto industry and imports from Mexico. Now, Trump got it wrong. Trump fact-checked Harris, but he got it wrong. He said it was about energy. When he was talking about it, he said that all these imports are coming in from Mexico. I'll end that, but if Biden is reelected, it'll be a bloodbath.
Well, and look, if you're going to fact-check candidates, that's fine, but you have to do it on both sides to have an equal opportunity debate. And on the issue of the bloodbath comment, when it comes to the auto industry, there was very little talk of Kamala Harris and her mandates of electric vehicles that she has thoroughly endorsed, both in the U.S. Senate and as vice president under Joe Biden, and how that would affect the auto industry and workers in places like Michigan. And so that is something that wasn't brought up in the context of that false statement.
Yeah, and how about the idea that she's on camera several times saying, I will end fracking, end fossil fuels. And the Inflation Reduction Act did have some fracking included in it, but far less than would have been included.
Yeah, exactly.
Like normally. All right. Katie, great to talk to you. Great.